Syrian government says clashes in the southern city of Sueda have stopped after a week of violence left hundreds of people dead.
Pope Leo XIV renews calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza amid new Israeli attacks killing dozens of Palestinians and fresh evacuation notices.
Syria's government on Sunday said clashes in the southern city of Sueda have stopped following a week of fighting that left hundreds of people dead. Syria's armed Bedouin clans announced they had withdrawn from Sueda, and the U.S. brokered ceasefire deal reached by the government, Druze groups and Bedouin tribes on Saturday appeared to be holding. The ceasefire came as clashes between militias of the Druze religious minority and the Sunni Muslim clans threatened Syria's fragile post-war transition. Israel had also launched dozens of airstrikes in the Druze-majority Sueda province, targeting government forces who had effectively sided with the Bedouins. According to local officials, the violence was sparked by a series of tit-for-tat kidnappings in towns and villages in Sueda province, which later spread to the city. The UN estimates that more than 87,000 people have been displaced in Sueda since July 12 due to the heavy fighting.
Pope Leo XIV renewed his call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza on Sunday, urging world leaders to respect international laws and uphold their duty to protect civilians. Pontiff made the remarks as he presided over a mass at the Cathedral of Albano in Rome. It comes after Israeli forces targeted the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza, where hundreds of Palestinians have been sheltering. The shelling also damaged the church compound. Israel expressed regret over the attacks, calling it an accident, and said it's investigating the incident. Meanwhile, Gaza's health ministry says at least 73 Palestinians were killed by Israeli soldiers while they were attempting to reach the various aid distribution points across the enclave. The Israeli Defense Forces say their soldiers opened fire at a gathering of thousands of Palestinians who, quote, posed a threat, noting that it was aware of some casualties. It, however, accused the Hamas-run health ministry of inflating the numbers, stressing that its investigation revealed far less fatalities. Israel also issued a fresh wave of evacuation notices to several areas in central Gaza as it announced plans for intense ground operations. The evacuation cuts access between the city of Deir al-Balah and the southern cities of Khan Yunis and Rafah.
Where can you go to escape the heat? Climate refuges are becoming more of a solution. With a wave of intense heat gripping European cities, climate refuges are places that can offer the population some coolness and relief. Public parks and gardens, libraries, museums and schools are among places that are open during the day to receive people who are vulnerable to extreme temperatures.
O efeito de ilha de calor é intensificado nestas ondas de calor e acontece normalmente em cidades. Isto porque nós temos cidades que estão densamente construídas, temos muito alcatrão que faz absorver o sol e ao final do dia nós vemos que às 6, 7 da tarde ainda é possível estar muito calor, apesar de já não estar muito sol, porque o chão absorveu. Depois temos vários edifícios e muitas vezes ruas estreitas, o que faz que seja difícil o ar circular.
The city of Barcelona has served as a model for the rest of Europe, not because it was a pioneer, but what really makes the Catalan city a great example is the clear criteria for defining what a refuge is, according to this researcher.
Não é qualquer espaço que é automaticamente um refúgio climático. E eu acho muito importante que esses espaços realmente, para que eles respondam às necessidades dessas populações que são mais vulneráveis a temperaturas extremas, eles precisam realmente ter esses critérios mínimos, né? Que, como eu falei, precisam ter um espaço mínimo onde as pessoas possam sentar, possam beber água, possam utilizar o banheiro.
In Lisbon, where thermal discomfort in homes is a reality, the city council has not yet promoted the use of a cooling network, but data scientist Manuel Banzer has created an interactive map where you can consult spaces like fountain, lakes and municipal swimming pools.
Há uma grande amplitude térmica nas casas e Lisboa é das piores cidades da Europa em termos de eficiência energética, o que significa que tanto no verão como no inverno as pessoas têm dificuldade a aquecer a sua casa ou a arrefecer a sua casa, e por isso há aqui uma responsabilidade municipal e pública de nós transformarmos o espaço público num espaço que seja uma extensão das nossas casas.
Além do desconforto, o calor também surge associado ao aumento da mortalidade. Portugal registrou 284 mortes em excesso entre 28 de junho e 3 de julho, durante o alerta de tempo quente. Joana Marão Carvalho, para a Euronews, em Lisboa.
Iran has reached an agreement with three major European countries, Germany, France and the United Kingdom, to hold renewed talks on the country's nuclear program. According to local reports, an agreement was reached on the talks format. However, negotiations are still in progress regarding the precise location and dates of the talks. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Tehran's approach to negotiating its nuclear file is stronger than before. Araghchi was reported to have spoken to the EU foreign policy chief Kaja Kallas and his counterparts in Britain, France and Germany on Friday. The talks are expected to open the door to more extensive engagement between Tehran and the West following the recent 12-day war with Israel that saw massive attacks by both Israel and the US on key Iranian nuclear facilities.
Will the new EU long-term budget turn cohesion policy into a regional Hunger Games? For decades, cohesion funds have helped reduce regional disparities across the EU, supporting projects from modern roads to hospital upgrading and job training. But a major shift is around the corner. Under the proposed EU long-term budget, cohesion policy would be merged into a single mega fund, combined with other spending priorities. Many warn that this budget simplification could lead to fierce competition for resources, raising alarm bells among regional leaders.
This is what's happening with putting agriculture, migration, border control, cohesion policy into one bag, in one container. It will turn it to a Hunger Games, turning against the farmers, to the mayors, cities, turning against housing, unemployment, and agricultural subsidies.
Of the total EU budget of 2 trillion for the 2028-2034 period, 865 billion will be earmarked for the single mega fund that will merge other spending lines, including the EU's agriculture and fisheries subsidies, cohesion policy, and the European Social Fund, which supports employment and education across the EU. Beyond the funding raised, the new delivery model for these funds is seen as a move away from the EU's long-standing approach of shared management with local authorities.
It's a clear centralization, it's a clear top-down model, instead of being active part of designing and implementing the policies. So we will be kicked out from the design part, from the management part, from the creation part, and we will be just implementers fighting for money and putting it, farmers against cities and regions.
With many details of the proposal still unclear, the coming months will be crucial. Local governments are calling for greater involvement and a rethink before the final EU budget is locked in.
Millennials and Gen Z no longer want perfect campaigns or smooth messages. They expect authenticity, relationships, and values. And platforms like TikTok are becoming the voice of the new consumer.
Nowe pokolenie odbiorców odchodzi od wyidealizowanego świata i nie szukają one idealnych obrazów i pięknych kadrów, szukają autentyczności, szukają bliskich relacji z twórcami, ale też z markami.
The new generation of consumers is moving away from an idealized world. They are not looking for perfect images and prefer authenticity.
Świetnym przykładem na taką komunikację jest marka Burberry, która w klasycznych kanałach komunikacji komunikuje się w bardzo prestiżowy sposób, natomiast na TikToku wykorzystała ona m.in. aktorów z serialu The Crown i stworzyła komunikację, która oparta była o parzenie herbaty angielskiej.
Such brands are able to dispense with excessive perfectionism and rely on dialogue to win true audience engagement. The Polish market is no exception. Brands such as Hilak and Inglot are effectively using the potential of TikTok.
60% użytkowników TikToka deklaruje, że dokonało zakupu usługi bądź produktu, w tym luksusowego, w oparciu o trend czy content, który zobaczyli na TikToku.
This form of communication translates into real purchasing decisions.
Około 50 milionów konsumentów w 2024 roku odpłynęły, więc jest to jasny sygnał dla marek i dla biznesu, że muszą zmienić sposób komunikacji z odbiorcą, który stawia na jakość, który stawia na odpowiedzialność społeczną i chce, aby marka, którą kupuje, reprezentowała również jego wartości.
Luxury is not losing its meaning, it is rather changing its form. Today, it is not just about the product, but also the values that the brand represents.
The initial aim is to get it over 100 miles an hour with the Guinness World Record moderators watching. However, quietly, internally, the aim for this vehicle is just to find out how fast we can make this thing go. And my personal aim is I would love to see it go past 200 kilometers an hour. What's amazing about it is the power density. So the thing that's so exciting about the turbo is it's very, very lightweight, despite having this incredible performance. And it's just for us, a really entertaining statistic from it is that it has a higher power to weight ratio than something like a Bugatti Veyron.